In the previous episode, I struggled all the way past Maidenhead to Taplow. Today, I was going to enter Greater London at the tail end of a heatwave. Would this be a successful leg, or would it be a repeat of last time I walked in considerable heat? You'll have to find out in this penultimate episode of Walking the Length of the A4. Hello, my name's John, filmmaker and slightly experienced walker. And last year, I decided to go on a bit of a journey. I wanted to walk the length of the historic road linking the west coast of England to London. There'll be highs.
I think that's the best shot I've got yet on this walk.
And lows.
The heat is really beating down on me.
And lots of walking. Please enjoy this episode of Walking the Length of the A4.
Alright, I'm outside Taplow Station again. I'm exactly where I left the A4 last time. We've just had a heat wave, so that's why it's a lot sunnier, and there's no time to waste. Because back in Newbury I said something along the lines of this will be the longest day of walking. That's not true. This is the longest day. In fact, this is the biggest day since Haugen.
Okay, I know you're asking, another biggest day of the walk? This is getting repetitive now. There's been like 4 of them. To explain what would make this day so big, I will start by saying the plan of the day was going to be starting in Taplow, walking through Slough, going over the M25, past the length of Heathrow Airport, and delving into the outer suburbs of London, finally ending up in Brentford. That's just a tad over 17 miles. The Newbury to Reading leg was slightly longer than that one, but I factored in a lot more walking that wasn't on the A4. However, today's leg would be over 17 miles and almost all of it would be on that road. Giving myself a very generous 9 hours to walk this leg before my train home from Brentford, I blasted my way through, making clear progress towards central London.
Oh, don't worry, I can read Roman numerals. That's 24 miles to Hyde Park Corner. We're covering 17 miles today, so that's 7 miles. I know Roman numerals, but I can barely do that. 7 miles from the end of the day to Hyde Park Corner.
Also, I was crossing through counties at a rate I'd never done before.
That was Buckinghamshire. Probably the easiest county. I'm not sure. It might be the easiest county I've done yet.
Watching these clips back, I immediately notice an improvement in myself from the previous leg, and I hope you lot can agree. It's around this point that I officially entered Slough, and the wide, grand corporate buildings of its trading estate honestly provide a stark contrast from everything else I'd seen over the walk, and that was what occupied me for the next mile or two.
Something I'm very quickly noticing about Slough, this is the widest place I think in the whole UK. Honestly, the only place in my life I've been to that's wider than this is Berlin. And if you've ever been to Berlin, you know how wide it is. This is like Berlin. There's just huge roads, high buildings. The heat is really beating down on me. I guess I have water, but it really is so hot right now. I'm gonna make it, but I might need a lot more water than what I've got. Not sure if you can see the background over there, but some guy has passed out.
I swear this was not made up for the series. There was a 40-year-old bloke who completely passed out opposite the Tesco in central Slough. Doesn't that just sum up all of what you've heard about the place? In other news, 4.5 miles into the day, I consulted my phone for my progress, and I wasn't doing that bad.
I looked up on my phone how long it'll take to walk, apparently, to Brentford in 4 hours 11 minutes. It's currently 10 past 12, so that would put me to arrive there at 20 past 4, which is 3 hours before my train. Yeah, probably by now, I'm guessing 1/5 done, so maybe a quarter if I'm lucky. You know, no reason to take my foot off the pedal.
What did I do after this? Take my foot off the pedal.
Don't worry, I haven't crashed. We're just taking a little break. Basically crash. We're good for time though, that's why I established earlier. We're good for time, so I can afford to take about 10-20 minutes just to eat this.
As is the whole story of the walk so far, pushing on was what I had to do. And now with nothing between me and the M25, I had no other choice than to walk further.
Right, we're just about to cross the M4 for the second time. The footpath, looking at Google Maps, goes a little weird around here, so I might leave the A4 for a bit. I'll quickly get back to it, just in case of when. Just crossed the M4 for the second time, back on the A4, and also this is where the A4 becomes a primary route again. For the first time since Chippenham, or just entering Chippenham. So that's exciting, isn't it? I think that's the best shot I've got yet on this walk. Just how there's a traffic island in the middle of the road. I thought, yeah, I'll put my camera down, walk past it with a car speeding past at 60, and I think it looked great. I'm not usually gloating about shots, but I think that one might be in the series. Might do. I am just approaching something so big in the walk that I think it doesn't even need an introduction. Actually, it might do. It's the M25, which, in my eyes, is the border of London. So, crossing this little bit here means we're in the final stage of the walk. I just looked up on my phone and I saw there's 2 hours 39 minutes to Brentford and it's 3 hours and 9 minutes from Tapwire. Now we're just approaching Heathrow, or yeah, just north of Heathrow. We're going to get a lot of planes in there actually. I can't believe it's taken this long to reference Berlin and now I'm referencing it twice in the same leg of the walk. Last time I was at Heathrow was when I flew to Berlin and back from Berlin, and I got this amazing shot of like London when coming back. Oh, I'm still so happy with that shot. I'm seeing it now.
I've never seen this view of London.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
By this point of walking, the heat was becoming more of a problem, so I needed a very familiar form of sustenance. Sustenance acquired, I endured through this never-ending stretch of road, which unfortunately made me say this.
You know, walking the A4, it's probably the stupidest idea I've ever come up with. I've had to push my body to the limits. I've got so much footage. I've used up more space in my hard drive in the last like 2 months than I used up in the previous 3 years, and no one knows it. Anyway, the editing's where it's gonna really kick off for me. The walking's easy, the editing. Whew. That's going to be a long one.
Now let me make one thing clear. I'm not doing this walk for attention. However, I've been shocked at how little anyone's looked at me while I've been walking. I hope that when this series is online, a few more people will see this, and I want them to be inspired to go on their own adventure. Maybe one that's more interesting than walking the A4.
Just entering Hounslow. You might be wondering why I was staying on the right side of the road for a little while. That was because I thought that there is a turning off for the A4. I thought it was going right, but it's actually going left. So I had no reason to be on the right hand side. So yeah, it would have been so much easier if I'd have stayed on the left hand side since I crossed the M25. But oh well, I know now. Yeah. Not too much further to go, hopefully.
Anyway, now officially beyond Heathrow, for one final time, I'll leave you for this episode. Tune in next time as I get to Brentford and walk through central London.